Hi, I'm Caroline, and I'm just going to continue talking about my journey from bipolar, much self doubt, and anxiety to a place of more peace and inner balance, and living the life of my dreams. And it's been a while because I've been moving from Britain to Portugal. And that symbolises a really big shift for me because years ago I had inklings that I wanted to move to Spain actually. I hadn't kind of thought about Portugal. And now I join the dots and I'm like, wow, I was basically building up to do this. And as soon as I came here with my ex 2, 3 years ago, I kind of knew like I needed to be in Portugal and I didn't know why, I didn't know how it would happen. I certainly didn't think it might happen because I didn't have enough money. And over the last 2 years, I've done a lot of inner work. And when we do inner work, our outer world changes to align with our self and our energies. So it's been a while since I've talked about anything. I've been doing a lot of self work, seeing a lot of my shadow self come up. And if any of you who are watching are doing your own journey and your own inner work, might be familiar with that term, shadow self. You can also call it subconscious. Basically, it's the parts of ourselves that we kind of would rather not be, do have, and it's very easy to say, oh no, I'm not violent. This is the thing for me. Oh, I don't do violence. I'm peaceful and I'm loving, and I love to be spiritual. And then I've had these massive arguments with my new love where it's been like fireworks, and I'm like, wow. But I journeyed about it this morning to the lower realm, and that's where you meet power animals and you gain wisdom and insight from these animals, and they help you see some of why the behavior is coming out and the lessons. And today, my journey took me really deep down into the ocean. I went through like a little wormhole from the stream that is in the place that I normally go. And it was like, all right, I'm going down. And I was inside a whale and I was going down and down. And I kept seeing little parts of myself that had been trapped on the sea floor. And it feels like that's what's been coming up. It's like all these little bits of myself that I've been like, no, I don't do that, I don't do that, I don't do that. So when I was asking what like overall, what is that showing me? A lot of it is about my male and female aspects. And I may have talked a little bit about my journey of feeling quite often like a man or a boy. Certainly when I was a kid, I really felt like a boy. I felt like a Victorian street urchin or something. And I always wanted to wear these like tweed caps and tweed little suits, like I don't know, a chimney sweep or something. And it stayed with me. I'm 6'1" as well, so I'm taller than most guys that I meet. So I always feel like I embody this like masculine energy. And over the last few years, I've done a lot of work on that as well, and looking at my past lives and aspects of myself that I've been blaming men when I've been a man. So it's this inner world where you're kind of like, I don't like this behavior, men do this. And then you're like, well, okay, you've done that in all your life. So you know, when we judge somebody else, we're generally judging a part of ourselves that we haven't made peace with yet. So one of my visions was me holding my energetic phallus and realizing I've probably raped and I've been raped. And when you can make the peace that it's not great, but you give yourself compassion and you are able to realize that anybody acting like that is not aligned with love. They're not aligned with their divine self. They're not aligned with being part of the universe, God, all there is. You're creating a division, yeah? So you feel alone and then you want love, so you want your kicks. And I haven't done that in this life. I don't have a willy. But realizing that I am not only capable, but have done that, it's big. It's pretty like, oh my God. But, you know, when we talk about compassion, that is it. It's realizing that through the behaviors is a hurt soul, a broken person, and that if we love them, i.e. love ourselves, then we can transform and come back into a loving space. Whereas if you constantly cast aside that part of you, you'll always have a division, and therefore externally you'll always judge anybody acting in that way. And nobody ever healed through hatred. They only healed through love. And so within, without, part of this journey, and going back to this morning's journey for myself specifically, was remembering a lot of my male aspects, which over the last few years I've been trying to not have, because I kind of knew that I was so out of balance with my male female that I really needed to embrace my divine feminine. And I've done a lot of I've attended and held red tent groups and done a lot of work with my womb and my female and my mother line and all this type of healing. So my periods are really easy and I love them. I don't have a problem. But I've almost done that so much to the behest that I haven't allowed my masculinity. So all this energy's come up. And like one part of my strong masculine is that I love to act and I love to do. And actually, that's not healthy to only do, because you just get to a point where you're just like, And when I kind of refer to bipolar, if we think of aspects of male, female, and just look at them as kind of aspects of duality that we live in, hot, cold, do, stop, talk, listen, all these opposites, the male is generally we see it as a more active energy. So for me, part of me coming back to balance is always checking in with myself. Are you being too active, too proactive, trying to push reality forward quicker than the natural divine flow of things? So the invitation to you as somebody watching, whether you've got bipolar or not, is to look internally of what aspects of yourself do you like, not like, do, not do. And you can look at it male, female, you don't need to, but for me it's been such a big part of me in a healing modality. Often they see like the right body is the male and the left body is the feminine. And when we can be in balance, we've got that ebb and flow. It's like breathing out, relax, breathing in, and action, energizing, relax. And it's bringing that balance to the self. So when we're not, and I've been in my very male persona like a lot of my life from 13 on or so, trauma, different things that happened, it's like, I'm going to go into the male and then no one can hurt me and I don't have to feel, and I'm very in my head and I'm analysing everything, which is great because I have great analytical skills. And so bringing that into balance is where it's very important to the self, so you can calm yourself down and remember that it's okay to be still and relax and be in your feminine, if you like. And that's where the gentle energies and the tender and the kind and the loving are allowed to then come out. And when you look in your body, if we're trapped in our head, it's very active. I should do this, I've got to do this, problem solving. When you come into your heart, it's much more gentle. It's much more flowing. And I and many others believe that this time in humanity is where all of our male aspects start relaxing and our female aspects come through, so that we can be strong yet gentle, wise but kind, action but also relaxation. So it's always bringing into balance. And again, going back to bipolar specifically, if your tendency is to be more high and hyper, then it's looking at ways to come back down, to relax, to do yoga, going for regular massages, nature walks, and having also foods and drinks that bring you down, whereas anything that brings you up brings you back into the male or the active self. So yeah, I mean, wow, today's journey for me this morning was just incredible to go, oh wow, I've done so much work, and then I flicked, and then I'm flicking back and forth between like this wounded female because my male is so overworked that I'm just so tired, and then I'm like, "Whoa." And that's not cool because I'm basically embodying archetypes that aren't me, for one. They're not like my soul, they're aspects of my soul, but they're wounded aspects. And I would like to be peaceful, loving, and active, but not really active and then really like, because if you like, that's where you can see the tendencies of bipolar, that like the aspects of that time that aren't useful, because it's great to be active and it's also great to access all this higher stuff, because when we're a bit stressed in the earth life, we pop up and we feel God and we feel this amazing love. But if we're not doing it from a grounded place, then you're going to come back down and you're going to have a time of like, I'm just so tired. Your body is like in shock, and that's where the depression comes in. So that's me for today. A little bit to think about there, maybe. You can check out my blog, www.breakingoutofbipolar.com. And also I have a website now for my work based in Portugal, my shamanic work, my drumming, singing and dancing to bring ourselves into our soul and release energies, and that's www.carolinemary.net. And if you want to get hold of me there, I will be holding retreats, probably spring next year onwards, specifically looking at bipolar and all the different parts of the journey that I've done and kind of looking within. So if you were interested in that, I'll be here in Portugal where I live. Or you can come and stay with me and have one-to-one time working through your journey and looking within, so you can come to harmony and live the life of your dreams without being stuck on medication, without a label for the rest of your life. Because it's possible. It really is possible. You only have to believe it. Namaste and blessings to you. And keep going. You're not alone.